Hello everyone, Case for Silver here, starting a new series on reviewing the books that I am currently reading. The first one we're going to touch on is The Joys of Compounding, The Passionate Pursuit of Lifelong Learning by Gautam Baid. I started reading this one on my latest trip up in Nunavut where I work, and it's an excellent book. And I want to go through my learnings on this, challenge myself to teach a little bit about it. Hopefully it'll help me learn the chapters in greater depth. So I'm going to go through this and we'll see how it goes. Let me know how it works out in the comments. So the video does not replace the need to read the book. Pick up the book, please. It's a great book, and everything that's referenced in this video is from this book. So I give all the credit where it's due. These videos have the objective to reflect on the reading material, the questions that arise, and actions that we can take to learn by practice. So make sure you have a pen and paper or a digital notebook so you can write down notes. Lots of times I have read books or listened to podcasts and I never wrote notes, regretting it later because I completely forgot what I was thinking at the time, what questions I wanted answered, what things I wanted to research. Pausing and thinking is obviously required. Take the time that's needed, and also share your questions, your plan of action, your reflections in the comments. I want it to be a discussion and would love to hear your feedback, your question, and I will reply to any question asked. So, chapter 1, Introduction. The best investments you can make is an investment in yourself. So I'm going to read these quotes that I got from the book here first, and then I'll go through my reflections on them after. So I constantly see people arise in life who are not the smartest, sometimes not even the most diligent, but they are learning machines. They go to bed every night a little wiser than they were when they got up, and boy, does that help, particularly when you have a long run ahead of you. Charlie Munger. This is how Warren Buffett, one of the most successful people in this business world, describes his typical day. I just sit in my office and read all day, sitting, reading, and thinking. Reflecting on this for myself, I'm obviously not even close to this, especially with the YouTube. I do a lot of, watch a lot of YouTube videos, look at charts a lot, kind of reflect on my investments, but to actually read a lot, I can't say that I do, and this is one of the reasons I'm doing this series too, to force me to do that, and to make it a bigger part of my life. More important than the will to win is the will to prepare. I'm going to go back through the graph after. Compound interest, Albert Einstein reputedly said, is the most powerful force in the universe. So what happens when you apply such an incredible power to knowledge building? You become a learning machine. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. And this is kind of what I'm doing here. And this is what a lot of you are doing on here, on YouTube, learning from other individuals that are trying to do the same thing. Rich people have small TVs and big libraries. Poor people have small libraries and big TVs. Love it. Self-improvement is the best way to spend some of your time every day. Agreed? And that's also a compounding effect, right? If you do something every day and you change your habits, well, that's going to eventually lead to something great. Carve out an hour of each day just for yourself. Learn to value your time highly. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Going back to the value your time highly, I think it's important to try to just analyze your day and see where you can kind of cut a couple minutes here or there from some activities that you really don't want to do anymore, or you don't think they're good for you, and that might give you more time to actually apply yourself to learn a new skill or read a book or whatnot. Develop into a lifelong self-learner through voracious reading. Cultivate curiosity and strive to become a little wiser every day. Charlie Munger. Awesome. So some reflections on this. I'm just going to go up here on my questions here. One of the questions I ask myself, am I taking in actions each day to learn something? So I think I can do this a little bit better. And like I said, there was a lot of YouTube watching or a lot of podcasts listening to, but I wasn't actually taking notes. So if you're not writing down, if you're not reflecting on those learnings, I can challenge that we're not really learning anything, right? If we need to take time to reflect on them, to write them down, to go back on them a couple days later, a couple weeks, couple months, and just compound those teachings that we're learning. Number 2, what habits exist in my life that stops me from compounding my learning efforts? I think, and I got some answers here. So, too much leisure time possibly exists in my day, where I think I deserve to relax, but really instead of doing that relaxing, I can cut that in half, and maybe pick up a book or two, read a couple chapters, write some notes, or make a video like this for myself. This is what I've decided to do, so I think that's going to be beneficial. Also, having a couple less drinks sometimes is a good thing, because the evenings sometimes are a little too relaxed when after a couple drinks. So cutting down on my alcohol consumption, something that will, I think, help me out. Number 3, third question, how long do I take each day to sit and think alone with no distractions? I catch myself doing this at work sometimes when planning projects. So that's something that I do is really kind of sit back and just think about my planning, what's next. I'm a project management, so when it comes to work, I think I'm pretty good at that, seeing a vision where I want to bring the department I'm working for, this kind of stuff. I also think a lot when I'm doing my routine tasks. So obviously you're doing the snowblower, you're doing the lawnmower, whatever it is, doing dishes. So that's a time for reflections as well. But I just want to track them more closely and not forget to really take that time to think. What is the ratio between reading and entertainment in my life? So I spend a lot of my time watching YouTube videos, as I mentioned, on investing. But I will consider this as part of my entertainment because it's something I really love to do. So it's, of course, if I sit down with a pen and paper, that changes things a little bit. I'm not just sitting on the couch watching these. I'm actually applying myself and learning something. I randomly read a book when I hear about one that is very intriguing, like this one. I would say the ratio is very, very low, probably under 5%. This is one of the reasons that I have started this new project on YouTube here, and just applying myself more on learning every day and just getting away from the day-to-day charts and reflecting. I'm really a long-term investor, so I really want to apply myself that way in a different manner. So actions I can take from this chapter, I can identify activities in my day that I can modify or eliminate to provide more time for reading and learning. So I talked about this already. And then commit to a change, right? Really do it. Number 2, reflect and find examples in my life that illustrate the J-curve well. So I'm going to go on the left here and show you the J-curve in a second. Identify one habit that I can start today that will compound in time and ensure my learning machine is always on. And number 4, track a typical day or two by activity and time spent on each to get an idea of where I might be wasting my precious time. So these are some of my questions that I will keep reflecting on and come back on. And then the last thing I want to touch on is the J-curve that they have, he mentions here in his book, in his first chapter. So on the left axis, you have your relative performance, and at the bottom axis, you have your time. So you see there that the curve really starts and kind of dips downwards before it makes its way up. That's why it's called a J curve or hockey stick, whatever you want to call it. So if the probability and or objective is great, work. So you keep working through this kind of down curve. And then as you do this, your performance will kind of come out of that hole, and then you're really going to see the effects of your work that was harder, where your performance was lower. So I found that really interesting. I think we got to put the efforts right at the start to make anything successful. So I'll give you some examples from my life in the past that I've thought about for this J-curve. So when on my OMAD diet, which is a 1 meal a day, I'm back on it now. It takes days, sometimes weeks, to actually see something adjust in my body and on the scale. And then when you really see it, it really starts showing quickly. So that's a great example. when starting off my career, or any career, it takes a while to find your niche and exactly what you want to do. I started as an underground electrician, did different work, labor work after college, kind of found, and then once I really found what I wanted to find, then I went for it. So that was really good. Really found what I wanted to do. Was working more with my brain than my hands, and that worked out well. When I started training running, I started with a run walk, right? And as I went more and more, then I did some running. So I could continuously run 8 kilometers at a time without walking. So once you really start, once you get through that, right? You push through it. Your performance sucks at the start. It's tough, and you feel like throwing up. But if you do it every day, you keep going. You just kind of get out of that rut, and then you kind of your performance really goes up. And hell, I'm gonna finish here by this silver investment. So obviously, if you look at this curve, and if you look at any chart, any investment, sometimes you're down on them, right? So I bought in 2011. I've been buying since 2011 as well, all the way down into this hole that I'll call it of performance, but it allowed me to compound my ounces, kind of stack that silver, and also buy the correct stocks. And now we're starting to see this come out of the hole. So it's kind of these are just some of the examples that I have, but I'm sure you might have some. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, your reflections. Do you like these kind of videos? You want me to keep going? Sometimes starting out, like I said, it's the toughest part. So this is my first one. Hopefully you enjoy it. Again, I'll go back to the book. So The Joys of Compounding by Gautam Baid. Excellent book. I've already read a couple chapters, starting my notes on it. So I'll see you for chapter 2 in a future video. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.